For years, I believed my siblings and I were bound by something unshakable, a shared history, mutual respect, and the promise of legacy. But when I uncovered their deception, everything I thought I knew about family crumbled into dust. They lied to keep me out of our parents' will, manipulating documents and twisting memories to erase my place in the inheritance. And once I realized what they had done, I decided to teach them a lesson they would never forget. It began innocently enough, or so I told myself. After our parents passed away within months of each other, grief weighed heavily on all of us. We gathered at the house we grew up in, sorting through belongings, reminiscing about old stories, and trying to navigate the tangled web of emotions left behind. My older sister, Claire, took charge, as she always did, organizing meetings with lawyers and handling paperwork, while my brother, Daniel, hovered nearby, offering half-hearted input. I stayed in the background, content to let them manage the details. At least that's what I told myself. In truth, I trusted them implicitly, never imagining they could harbor such calculated deceit. The first hint of trouble came during one of those lawyer meetings. Claire handed me a document summarizing the estate distribution, her expression calm but distant. According to the paper, the bulk of the assets, our childhood home, savings accounts, and valuable heirlooms, were split evenly between her and Daniel. My name was conspicuously absent. "What is this?" I asked, my voice trembling despite my attempt to stay composed. "Why am I not listed here?" Claire hesitated, glancing briefly at Daniel before answering. "Mom and Dad made some adjustments before they passed," she explained, her tone clipped. "They felt you weren't ready for the responsibility." "Not ready?" I repeated, incredulous. "I've been taking care of myself since college. I've built a stable career, paid off my debts. How does any of that make me not ready?" Daniel chimed in, his usual charm laced with condescension. "It's not personal, Leo. They just wanted to ensure everything went to someone who could handle it properly." Their words stung, but I swallowed my anger, convincing myself there must be a misunderstanding. Surely Mom and Dad wouldn't exclude me outright, not after all the times I helped them, not after the sacrifices I'd made to support the family. I resolved to dig deeper, determined to uncover the truth. What I found shattered whatever faith I still clung to. Late one night, while everyone else slept, I snuck into Claire's room and rifled through her belongings until I stumbled upon a folder hidden beneath a stack of papers. Inside were copies of legal documents, handwritten notes, and emails exchanged between my siblings and the lawyer. The evidence was damning. They had forged signatures, altered dates, and fabricated reasons to justify cutting me out of the will. Every lie was meticulously crafted, every detail designed to paint me as unreliable and undeserving. My hands shook as I read through the materials, rage bubbling inside me like molten lava. How could they do this? How could they sit across from me, pretending to mourn our parents while secretly scheming to rob me of my rightful share? Betrayal burned hotter than grief, consuming every rational thought until only one idea remained. If they wanted to play dirty, I'd show them how it was done. The plan came to me slowly, piece by piece, as I replayed their actions in my mind. If they valued control above all else, I would take it away from them entirely. Over the next few weeks, I worked methodically, gathering allies and resources to execute my revenge. First, I reached out to an old friend who specialized in estate law, explaining the situation without revealing too much. Together, we drafted a counterclaim challenging the validity of the will, citing inconsistencies and potential fraud. Then, I contacted several distant relatives, sharing carefully edited excerpts from the documents I'd found. By the time I presented my case, whispers of scandal rippled through the family tree, casting doubt on Claire and Daniel's integrity. When the day of reckoning arrived, I walked into the lawyer's office feeling like a stranger in my own story. Claire and Daniel sat side by side, their expressions smug and self-assured, confident that their scheme had succeeded. The lawyer cleared his throat, shuffling papers before addressing the room. "It appears there are discrepancies in the original will," he announced, his tone neutral but firm. "Given the evidence provided, we may need to revisit its terms." Claire's smile faltered, her eyes narrowing as she turned to me. "What did you do?" she demanded, her voice sharp with accusation. I didn't do anything, I replied, coolly leaning back in my chair. But it seems someone tampered with the documents. Funny how things come to light when you start asking questions. For a moment, no one spoke. The air crackled with tension as realization dawned on their faces. Daniel shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact while Claire clenched her fists, struggling to maintain composure. This isn't over, she snapped, standing abruptly. We'll fight this. Go ahead, I said, shrugging. But remember, you started this game. Don't blame me if you don't like where it ends. In the weeks that followed, chaos erupted. Relatives called demanding answers, lawyers filed motions, and accusations flew like arrows in a war zone. Claire and Daniel scrambled to defend themselves, exposing cracks in their alliance as paranoia set in. Meanwhile, I watched from the sidelines, letting the storm consume them. Their lies had isolated them, turning allies into enemies and trust into ash. Eventually, the legal battle concluded, not with a bang, but a whimper. The court ruled in favor of invalidating the contested portions of the will, ordering a redistribution based on equal shares among the three of us. Claire and Daniel emerged battered and bitter, their reputations tarnished beyond repair. As for me, I walked away with more than money. I reclaimed my dignity, proving that loyalty couldn't be bought or stolen. Reconciliation wasn't part of the equation. Too much damage had been done, too many wounds left festering. Still, there were moments when guilt crept in, reminding me of the bond we once shared. Was revenge worth the cost? Some nights, I wondered. Other nights, I reminded myself of the lesson they taught me. Trust must be earned, not assumed. Looking back now, I realized that exposing their betrayal wasn't just about justice. It was about reclaiming my identity. For years, I allowed others to define my worth, accepting scraps of affection and approval in exchange for silence. But no longer. Life doesn't offer easy answers, and forgiveness isn't a switch you flip overnight. But sometimes, the hardest choices lead to the greatest growth. In the end, Claire and Daniel didn't just lose their inheritance, they lost themselves. And I gained something far more valuable, the courage to stand alone, even when it hurts. Because love, even flawed and complicated love, is worth fighting for. But so is self-respect.